Hello and welcome to Memoirs of Successful Women, everybody. It is the place where I get to have fascinating conversations with women around the world, and today is no exception. I am super excited to introduce you to Ariel Hoffman. Welcome to the program, Ariel.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's such a delight. I'm going to tell the listeners a little bit about you, and then we are going to start talking all things nutrition and fitness and lifestyle behavior. So get excited, everybody. This might be an area that you're totally into and an area that you dream to be into, want to be into, hesitated of being into. And we want to talk all things wellness because Ariel Hoffman is the founder of Ariel Hoffman Wellness, which is on a mission to change the way people, especially women, view and treat their bodies and themselves. She's all into helping high achieving leaders and executives and working moms, particularly struggling with chronic stress and fatigue and burnout, to help them create a personalized wellness practice. Why? So that they can lose that excess weight that they're feeling uncomfortable about. They want to feel comfortable in their own skin. They want to increase their energy and perform at their best. So I'm all into that. Ariel is the real deal. She has celebrity clients, Emmy Award winners, Oscar Award winners, Grammy Award winners. Oh my goodness. And elite athletes that she totally relates to. And she's built this career journey over the last 15 years. So welcome. Big welcome to you, Ariel.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me, how does Ariel Hoffman grow her career over 15 years? Do we be in a place now that you actually are, have the dream clients, really, those top elite clients who are, busy. This is the problem with the whole fitness wellness sort of thing, that you've got clients who are probably busier than anyone if you're looking at the types of clients that you're working with, but you're still sort of coaching them somehow to, just keep it all balanced, invest in themselves, love themselves. How did you go about doing that, and what does it look like for you on a daily basis?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can go far back, but basically, to give everyone a brief overview on how I got where I am, I was a professional dancer in New York City for many, many years. And part of that journey involved falling into fitness and being a personal trainer and, to support myself, because I had to support myself while I was living out my dream. And fitness was it. I fell in love with it. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was just seeing the evolution of someone's transformation and how I was able to help facilitate it and to help them get there. And it just became, it's really satisfying, it's helping other people. And to this day, that's what drives me. There's nothing that makes me happier than seeing a client smile on their face, realize that, wow, they've truly transformed whatever that transformation is for them. So, turn into a fitness professional. Part of that journey was, I was doing a lot of fitness with clients and also going through some of my own trials and tribulations with injuries and disordered eating. All of that stuff kind of culminated in my interest of health coaching and getting into health coaching and coming at this way to help people in a more holistic way. So not just the exercise, but to really work with people on what was going outside of the gym or the studio. A lot of people would come to me and express their frustration of, well, I'm working out and I don't understand why things aren't changing. And, I never really had the time to really dive into the nutrition and lifestyle behavior in a workout session. And so that's what motivated me to say, hey, how can I help people on a deeper level and really get them to change? So that became the motivation of becoming a health coach.
And I suppose that motivation happened more when you realized that it was probably in the early days easy for you. If you're a professional dancer and you're fit, healthy, you're thinking, why isn't everyone healthy, fit? It's an easy job to have. But when you then had your own, you've referenced injuries and you've had disordered sort of thought patterns around your eating, then that probably has then went, oh my gosh, if this can even happen to me, this is definitely going to be a major barrier for other people, rather than just seeing them at the gym. That's right. They've got all this life complexity, issues, mental issues, emotional issues, and whole backgrounds. So to see people holistically, did you need to do more training? Did you get mentored in this way? Or was it something that you actually just started tapping into organically with those clients that you worked with?
I tapped into it organically. And of course, there's multiple certifications. So I studied. I have multiple certifications in fitness, and I have a health coaching certification. So yeah, what I tell people now, it's interesting. You said that it was easy for me to, stay in shape and to do all this stuff. And that's the illusion. I think a client of mine recently said to me the same thing. She said, it's easy for you to fit in workouts, isn't it? And I said, it's actually not anymore. I'm glad that that's what people think. I'm clearly making it look easy. And, as a dancer and a performer, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make things look effortless on stage. But people don't see the behind the scenes, the training, all of that goes behind making things look effortless. So what's really important for people to understand is, if you're embarking on a health transformation journey, if there are things you want to change, if you're happy, great, kudos to you. There's still work involved as far as maintaining, but it does take effort and it takes some work to make that become effortless. It doesn't have to be hard forever, but there is an element of, work that has to go into it. And that's really what my coaching does for people too, is, one of my taglines is how to never go on a diet again, because I think most people have some level of disordered eating based on what we've been taught, what we've grown up with. And I know that when I was diving more into the study of all of that and nutrition, I felt very duped by commercialism and society. I was like, how could they tell me this was healthy, And here I am, this dancer, ballet dancer at 16 years old, training hours a day and eating what I think is healthy, and yet not getting parts because I was overweight for a ballet dancer. What does that do to a teenager? What does that do to your mindset going into your adulthood? And screws you up. That's what it does. Not to say that, that happens to everybody, but that certainly happened to me, and that was the case. And so I discovered along the way that through learning about what's the most up-to-date science on all of this stuff, it helped make me make more informed decisions. And I've been able to pass those strategies and those techniques on to my clients. So really, ultimately, the systems I have in place have come from my own trials and tribulations combined with the many clients I've worked with. So everything I do is tried and true, so to speak.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's the total parallels. Actually, here I am sitting here as a business coach, and it's exactly the same. Other people say, "Oh, it's kind of easy for you because you've been doing it for so long, or you just make it look easy." You're kind of like going, "Well, it's amazing. There's a behind luck and easy looking easy is a lot of hard work, systems and processes that you've spent 15, 20 years sort of just learning, refining, adapting with different people. And then that's right. As a skilled professional, you do make it look very easy, but there is always work to be done. And that's the thing. I think your clients, or anyone's clients, always have to just do that work themselves. The challenge, I think, with exercise and diet is that you go, I don't want it to be work. Right. That can be a mental block. I know it is for me. It's kind of like going, you want to do something that's enjoyable, So for me, I got around that by saying I actually enjoy the outdoors. So if I go out hiking, I'm so busy having fun, just walking and talking and enjoying. I don't see it as exercise. Do you know what I mean? So whereas if I go to the gym, I think of it as, okay, I've got to stay here for 40 minutes and just do all the exercises. Do you find so many people have challenges with the way that they actually view, that ability? You just like, I want to lose some weight. I want to fit in this perfect dress for my birthday party in 6 months' time or something like that. They'll have some X factor goal, but they will struggle with, well, how do I actually implement the requirements into my life without it feeling like hard work?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Listen, everything in life requires, like, if you really want something, there's a balance to it, right? I think that everything involves an element of enjoyment combined with the element of what's necessary.
Yeah.
And when you combine those two together, as long as you have the fun to complement the things that are necessary and maybe not as fun, but those two things together are getting you towards your goals, and it makes it easier for people to overcome some of those challenges of, the drudgery of, oh God, do I really have to do this? And
Exactly.
going back to, people thinking it's easy for me, there are days when I don't feel like working out. I get sugar cravings. I give in to them sometimes. Like, I'm not perfect all the time. That's not what I promote. But I do believe that there is a balance. And once you find that balance, it can be all of it can be fun, and it can be a lot less torturous. And yeah, I mean, there are different ways of getting there. And again, I have a couple of strategies that I help people implement to deal with that. And believe me, I hear all the excuses.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, let's go over time. Nobody has enough time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. We've all heard that. But listen, your health cannot take a back seat, because when your health takes a back seat, everything else isn't as good. You can't have the fun you want. You can't have the fun you truly want if you've put yourself last, if you don't prioritize your health and you don't get on top of it.
Exactly. It affects absolutely everything you do, not just your health, those that you share life with, the business that you run, the enjoyment, the travel that you want to enjoy, all directly relates to how healthy you are. Now, you dropped into a point there that you even get sugar cravings. So I'm going to ask you some questions. You've also mentioned the word torture a couple of times, and I love that. So how do we have torture no more in this whole world? How do you cut down on sugar but still enjoy healthy and sometimes occasional unhealthy things?
Yeah. So I've played around a lot with this idea based on the feedback I hear from clients. But let's break down the fact that there's a myriad of diets out there. And whenever I do a talk or a presentation, one of the questions I ask is what comes to your mind when you think of the term diet? And the number one thing is torture, deprivation,
Yeah.
Horrible. And nobody can sustain anything if that's what they really feel it is, right? We just talked about fun.
Mm.
So how do you overcome it? So the goal that I have for clients is taking them through a system that allows them to enjoy and understand which things they truly enjoy and let them have it, rather than say, go on a 30-day cleanse and don't eat anything, don't eat sugar, don't eat, you got to juice. I'm not a huge proponent of some of those cleanses unless you are using it sort of as a maintenance tool and you already have this foundation behind you, then it can be effective. But if you're somebody who, you have, it's been a while since you even tried to get on top of your health, that's not the best route to go because it's unsustainable. And not only that, when that ends, what happens? You never understood why you had the sugar cravings in the first place. You go back to your old ways because you weren't able to understand why you have the habits you have. So torture no more, and overcoming these cravings has a lot to do with understanding where you are now, what your current habits are, and assessing those so that you can then figure out what you're going to change first. And then layer on top of that. And once you what's the word? I guess achieve a milestone of being able to implement one healthier habit in your life, then you're ready for more. And then once you have that layered, maybe you have 8 to 10, and now sugar isn't even a question. So, conquering your sugar cravings isn't about living without sugar forever. It's about understanding what you truly want and making the decision to have those things at certain times that are appropriate and not all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Occasional joys if you're wanting that little sugar hit, but that's right. It's a, occasional, not an everyday. So it's more about, I love what you've shared there. It's the layering, which makes sense. A lot of things we do are drastic. We reach a stage, someone calls us fat or something, and you go, oh my gosh, it suddenly hurt me because it came from a child or a neighbor or a friend or something that emotionally affected you. And then that can swing you on the extreme, which is those, crash diets, torture as you describe it. Absolutely. It's like, I'm not gonna have anything bad for a whole month, and then automatically you're thinking this next month is going to just be horrible, and then it changes your whole mindset to food is the enemy. It actually reinforces all your negative belief systems around what you're eating and what food is, and the fact that food is actually fuel, right? So it's absolutely amazing. I love what you do there is then you just pick one thing, just pick something that you can obviously reduce or change, and then once you've done that, you then layer up, because that's right, that then creates sustained lifelong change, which is what you're wanting. You're actually not wanting to be on a diet, right? You're actually wanting to just live healthy, and those ways that you function actually are just your default. That's just healthy lifestyle.
Exactly. Yeah, and the other comparison to make is that, for a lot of people, food becomes this reward punishment system. So with a lot of diets and challenges, it's like, oh, I'm going to be good for 30 days and then I can have whatever I want, or I'm going to have one cheat day, and then you're constantly like the whole week, I'm going to be good. And then I get my one cheat day. So trying to change that mindset is a task in itself. But once you break through that, for instance, one of the clients I'm working with now, she said something really interesting to me the other day. And she said, well, first of all, I don't even crave any sugar anymore. Like she was eating like a chocolate bar or something because it was one of her things on her list that we said she could eat, if it fancied her. And she said, I took a bite of it, I didn't even want it. So how do you go from needing to get rid of sugar to that point? And that's the strategy I'm talking about. And it's not necessarily, you know, following one diet specifically, because everybody has their own preferences. And the other thing she said to me was, you know, she went out to a restaurant, and I think this happens to a lot of people when they start to go on a diet, right? They go out, and then when they start making modifications to a meal, a friend will say, oh, well, why are you doing that? Or what are you doing? And then you feel like you have to explain yourself. Well, I'm starting this diet and it's this, that, and the other. And she said, you know, like, I don't even need to say I'm not on a diet. Like, I'm just eating. And it's just so brilliant because that's exactly what it should be. You're just eating.
So I'm just having a salad because I like it. It's healthy.
Yeah.
It's a healthy food. Or I'm just choosing the fish because instead of all the meat or something like that, because that's right. It's just my life. This is the way I eat rather than that's right. There's nothing worse than everyone going, oh, are you choosing that because you're on a diet? And then it's like intense pressure on you when you're not wanting that. You're wanting to actually just, you know, have the opposite. It's like, no, I'm just trying to be healthy here. And that's right. You're putting in practices that are trying to be healthy, choosing to be healthy until they just are. They just are. I love that. I love it when
like
you get to that moment and go, oh, this is just who I am. I don't need this. I'm not on a diet. I'm just living. I'm not doing an exercise program. I just have exercise in my day. You know, yeah, exactly.
And you said it very well. You said that becomes the default. So the default is just, that's your life. That's what you do. You work out regularly, you eat healthy, and you enjoy life moments when you want to. And there's balance there. So
yeah, absolutely. How do you encourage people or go about that area of just implementing exercise into their day? You know, just, you know, that's one of the biggest things that we, you know, when we talked about time before, we're all busy. We all like the idea of being fitter, being healthier, but most people go, I just didn't have the time for it. I don't have the time to do that. Whereas other people will go, oh my gosh, you could even do some exercise in front of the telly if you want to. You can just do it. It's more the act of being active and then working out what works for you rather than the, you know, it's just going to be too hard. Is that because they think exercise has to be extreme? Why is it so difficult, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you were talking about with extremes, you know, there are a couple things people don't take into account in their life when it comes to exercise. They don't take into account of where they are in their life right now. So, and oftentimes they're also comparing themselves to a previous self, right? When I was in my 20s, I looked like this. Well, when you're 20s, you do have more time. You have more freedom of your time. But when you get into your 30s and 40s and you run businesses and you have families and you have kids and, you know, time disappears. So one of the first things I have people do, and actually I had a free workshop recently, and I had a slide up that explained this in detail, and I'll get into that in a second. But basically, you have to start with where you are now, and you have to be realistic with what you can actually fit in a week, and that's usually where we start. So there's that part of it. The other part of it is people also do have this idea that the only way they get a workout in is if it's 45 minutes to an hour. It has to be really long. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yes.
And I had those moments, you know, and I've had those moments coming from the opposite extreme where I was working out and training multiple hours a day. And now I'm, you know, a mother and, you know, 30 minutes, like, what is that going to do for me? Well, you know, I've found myself going into that headspace. It just easily happens. So, but you have to understand that, you know, the most important thing you can do in order to fit in exercise is to adapt to where you are now, and then make a realistic goal for the week, an expectation for the week, so that you succeed. And then you build upon that. So, you know, if you going back to my free workshop and this slide I had up, it basically broke down by minutes, by the number of minutes per week. So it suggested that you get 30 minutes a day of exercise. How many minutes are in a week? So I have this whole breakdown. And if you're working out, if you're exercising or moving your body from, 0 to 15 minutes a week, you need to work in some more exercise in your life. Bottom line, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. You probably already know that. And then there's a scale and there's a range and it goes up. So, happy medium, if you have 90 minutes in your week, break that up. What's 90 minutes divided by 6? I can't do that math right now in my head, and I'm not going to even try because that's not my forte. But you break it down in those segments and you say, oh, okay, well, where might I have 20 minutes today? And you put it in your calendar like you do with everything else. And here's the kicker. This is what happens to a lot of people too, is when that doesn't happen, they get frustrated and they feel bad about themselves. And a lot of clients will say to me, oh, Ariel, I didn't fit in my workouts last week. I didn't do it. And I said, okay, well, let's look at why. And let's go back to your calendar and let's see what happened that day. And is there another day that you can put that 20 minutes to make up for yesterday? And sure enough, they find it. So it's taking that exercise and figuring out, how many minutes in a week do you have now, today, this week, coming week, to fit in exercise? Listen, if you're working out 60 minutes a day, 6 days a week, that's excellent. And that's on par with, athletes. But most of us don't have that time right now. And maybe that'll happen, sometime later on in life. But either way, there are ways to find the time.
There are definitely ways to find the time. And what I loved a few things that you said there. One of them was just adjusting to the stage you're in. And, and those of you who know my journey, I had 4 children in 2 years. I had 2 sets of twins. So I went from how do you even, I couldn't even go to the bathroom by myself, let alone think of going off to an exercise class or do something like that. But I could actually, once we got ourselves into a routine, you can go for, I'd have one baby on the, backpack and a little odd thingo, and then I have twins in the pram, but I'd actually go, okay, I'm just going to do a walk, even a 15, 20-minute walk around the neighborhood each week, every day, that's the goal. But I love that feeling of when you have a bad day, and let's face it, you always have regularly have those days, and then you go, oh, it's like a failure. And then we're extreme in our thinking. Oh, well, I'm quite happy to own that myself. And so I'd then go, oh, I've missed it today. And then you just write it off for the week,
Right.
And I love what you mentioned there, that goes, start thinking instead of a day, it's like a week or even a month. It's like if you've got your hours there, it's not as if your body's just calculating everything for the day. It's like everything is a general, I like that. If you have a week, you can actually just break it down and go, okay, well, I didn't do it today because all the kids were having tantrums or someone was sick or this or that, but I can do something tomorrow. Or I can actually go, I didn't get to do the walk because it was raining. I could actually do something else. I could turn the telly on and have a little exercise program and just do something, and even do it with the kids or something like that, So this concept of, when it doesn't work, don't throw it all out, which is the same as exercise and diet. You break the diet and go, I might as well. I've opened that pack of chips. Oh, well, I might as well eat the whole packet now. We've all been there. So extreme. Okay, once I've done a little bit bad, then I'll either just stop or I'll make it really bad. It is a whole journey. And I think particularly, those, if I look at my life of just, going from no kids and being quite, that's right, being in your 20s, you can just go off and have I'm in Sydney, Australia, you could go off and have a surf, you could go for a run, you could go for a bike ride. And then suddenly you've got kids and then more kids, and then you're feeling like, oh, my routines change. You actually do need to stop and go, okay, well, what can I do in this changing routine? And then when you're really busy with career, you can then get very sedentary, but there's still choices, right? I remember when I made that choice of, instead of, I can park somewhere like, a K away and actually just walk rather than going straight up to the office. You know, if I didn't have that time, as soon as I got home, I didn't have any time. So I'd go, okay, I'm going to have to incorporate that either in my lunch hour, walking around the park, or I'm going to have to walk, you know, to or from work, or whatever it is. It's this thought of, all right, how has my circumstance changed, and how am I going to be using my time now? It is around time, isn't it?
Yeah, and also understand that you don't always get to do your ideal. Like, you're not always going to get that option. But when you do get the ideal option, how much better that'll feel. You're more grateful for it. You know, exactly. So again, it's the whole, I don't have an hour today. You know, it's not going to be that great if I just do 15 minutes. It's not going to. But if you break up your week and you give yourself the moment of having that ideal, you know, some people it's going outside and doing a really long hike. That's their ideal.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's taking a dance class. You know, for other people, it is going to one of their favorite gyms and taking their favorite class. And that does take a lot more time. So if you can integrate, again, the things that you really enjoy with the necessary things, you're going to be a lot happier, and you will be more motivated in general to keep going, because then you have something to look forward to. Plus, you know, you're already doing the things that you know are necessary.
And I also love to have the reward of the reason why. You know, for me, it's like, you know, I've already booked a hike in New Zealand, actually, with my family in January. And so it's kind of like, even if I don't feel like doing some exercise today or something, I'll go, I've got to get out, because I want to make sure that when I'm in New Zealand and on this hike, I don't want to be the weakest link. I want to make sure that I really enjoy it. I don't want it to be an effort on that day. I want it to seem easy, because it is easier because I'm fitter, you know. So I want to be right for the occasion, or the same as I've just been traveling, and I want to make sure that if I see a castle on the top of the hill, I want to be able to walk to that castle on the top of the hill. I don't want to be sitting there going, gee, that would have been good. I'd love to see what's up there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it depends on how we're wired. I'm all into the experience and the fun and the result of why I want to be fit and healthy, rather than, and then that will then make me do it on those sort of not so fun days, or at least, you know, bring it in. Other people are just, they are disciplined, and they just go, I like dance, I'll just do more dance. I like this, I do more, or I see my friends there, I'll just do it. I think it is just such a fascinating area that you work in. I do know you've mentioned chronic cardio is terrible. I'd love you to tell us why, because we often sort of think, us non-elite athletes think, you know, those people who are just so good, they're just at classes all the time, they're on the treadmill, they're working out. Why do you, as a sports expert, say chronic cardio is terrible?
As somebody who did chronic cardio for a very long time, it's, I mean, depending on what your vehicle of cardio is, whether that's running, for me, it was cardio dance. So those are very high impact cardio exercise modalities. So doing those excessively is, one, just not good for your body joint wise. Two, you know, one of the most important things, so let me go back. Why do people do chronic cardio? For me, my mindset was, oh, I can eat whatever I want if I do 2 hours of cardio tomorrow. Going back to the whole reward punishment thing, I was very good at it. I was so good at doing that to myself. And, you know, that was really unhealthy. And, you know, there are marathon runners who have come out and said that the same thing, you know, because as a marathon runner, you're an endurance athlete. That's your thing. You got to do a lot of cardio, right? You got to run. But more and more evidence is showing that the most important thing to build endurance is strength. And people completely neglect the muscle building part. And I'm not talking bodybuilding muscle. If that's what you enjoy and that's what you like, kudos to you. But just muscle in general, lean muscle mass is what burns fat. When you understand that, cardio, doing hours and hours of cardio is only going to get you so far. Your muscles are what require energy. Your muscles are what require the fuel that you're giving yourself. And so, your muscles are what require endurance. It's not the other way around. It's not the endurance in the cardiovascular system that requires the muscles. It's actually the opposite. So the more you keep your lean muscle mass alive, the more it's going to require your cardiovascular system to also pump circulation through those muscles. Getting a little sciencey here, so if I've lost anyone, I'm sorry. But essentially, as we age, as we get older, strength is the most important thing for your body and for your overall health, your bone density, all of those things. Your metabolism, what turns on your metabolism is having lean muscle mass. It's one of the things, one of the variables, not solely. Yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely did. And I think it's a fascinating topic, I think, because often, yeah, that's right. I used to think, oh, well, exercise is those people who are really, the runners or the people who are doing a lot of cardio, therefore they're fitter. Whereas, they've got a type of fitness, but that's right. I think strength, particularly as I'm getting older, and then those of us who are going through perimenopause or menopause, our bodies are changing at that stage. Or also that, muscle mass is actually, I remember when I was nursing, they say your muscle mass halves from 40 to 80 or something. You're kind of like going, oh my gosh, like that's a time that you actually really need to start just using your muscles to actually, just stay healthy. Obviously, like even just from a lifestyle perspective, to make sure that you don't have falls when you're older and be able to, get up and enjoy your day-to-day life. But particularly, I love what you shared there of actually when you've got more work on that core strength, it will then, you'll then, by being stronger, you'll then end up doing the necessary cardio around that. I think I'm going to have to explore that one a little bit more.
Yeah, and actually there's a gentleman by the name of Peter Attia, and he talks a lot about zone 2 training, which zone 2 refers to one of your heart rate zones.
Yeah.
And when you exercise, you aim to hit certain zones, right? Like that's what a lot of those heart rate monitors are showing you. They're showing you whether or not you hit your heart rate zones.
Yeah.
So zone 2 training falls into the category of keeping your system, which is a cardiovascular. It's basically like when you're walking for a long period of time or walking with very little effort, you can still have a conversation. You're not pushing yourself, but you are moving. It actually feels relatively easy when you're in zone 2. It doesn't feel like too much effort. That combined with strength training is shown to improve so many factors of health, including cardiovascular health, bone health, muscular health, all of those things. So combining this zone 2 with strength training is one of those things that really binds all of those together. And then, it is important for everyone to push their bodies to their limit a times a week, and that is your fight or flight response. So we have all these systems, and you have to work these systems in order for you to function properly for as long as possible, right? We're talking longevity here as well. And,
exactly.
People tend to have to push themselves a little bit further than they think, just to hit that, heart rate max zone a couple times, combining that with your zone 2 training, combining that with your strength training, and maybe that's a few times a week. That's enough to really make some really positive changes in your overall health.
Yeah. Such great advice. Mix it up is the secret as well, isn't it? It's just like I think anything that you do, if that's all you do, you'll end up getting strains on your body and potential for injury and being able to, that's right, think about your strength, think about a little bit of cardio, going to your max, but staying at that sort of rate. I absolutely love that. And I learned that myself, once I got, fitter. And what couple of things there. Once you get fitter, it's easier then to maintain it. So it's kind of like you do that hard work and then you can maintain easier than going these roller coaster rides of getting fit and then getting unfit, getting fit, getting
Right.
unfit. That's what gets really exhausting, and that actually is
Mm.
what does your head in, because you go, oh my gosh, it's a bigger mountain to climb to get back to where I was, and then it sort of can be really challenging, but it's always worth it. And I love what you do. It's you're on a mission to be able to help as many people as you can just be healthier holistically, not just fitter, but actually, I love it. After looking through a lot of your socials, it's on, your nutrition, your lifestyle, your way of life. It's beautiful. It's seeing that you're beautiful as a particularly as a woman, but that you're learning to love your body, that body is really precious. It's helping you live the life that you want to live, right? You suddenly then wanting to nurture it, wanting to invest in it, wanting to bring out the best in it. And I love the essence of absolutely all of that. So I think today's conversation shown me that you don't have to go hard all the time. You can just have this. It's a choice of the way you use your time and the way you sort of invest your energy and into practices that are going to just enhance your life. Yeah, and I love that, because it makes it more natural. It just makes it be, this is just the way I life. I just have a healthy lifestyle. Like, that's just so great, rather than go, oh yeah, I'm on a diet, or I'm just on an exercise thing at the moment, or this or this. It's like you're just learning how to be a healthy individual. It's like, yes. And it doesn't sound that hard. And I know it is hard. So I thank you for reinforcing, you know what, guys, it is going to take a bit of work for those who are not doing that. But once you've done it, that's right. Then you'll be at the other side, like Ariel gets to see with her clients, of like, oh my gosh, transformation. And that person's like, I'm never going back.
Yeah.
It really does. It just changes the life. What I love is just the energy. It just brings energy with it, right? So you think you're giving up all this energy when you think sometimes like, I'm going to giving out, I'm going to be tired. You actually are the opposite. Once you get fitter, you give out energy, but you also then have more energy. It's a really crazy thing. You'll know the science of it, but I'm addicted to that kind of buzz.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all of that you're speaking about is really what I refer to as building a foundation. So many times when people are bouncing from one diet to another, or one workout to another, or the constant yo-yo, or this up and down roller coaster that you're speaking of, the thing that has not been established is the foundation of the healthy habits, that then once those are established, you don't need to change them anymore. But if you are still struggling with some of those things, that's what that means. It means you haven't changed some of the necessary habits that you need in order to, choose your preferential diet and stick to it. It means that you haven't totally committed or really evaluated the time you need to put into your exercise and movement. And that's of my program. I have a 6-month program, and the first few months is establishing that foundation. And the idea behind that is that you don't go back from that foundation. Once it's there, you progress. You progress to the next thing. You take that trip, and they do what you're doing, which is, well, I want to climb this mountain and I want to feel good doing it. That's your goal. That's the progression. It's not, oh, now I got to go on another diet and I got to start working out again. And, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do it. So, I mean, the goal I have for clients is to get rid of that mindset and to not have to do that again. It just becomes about, like, once that foundation is set, You've got a baseline of workouts that you do each week. You know what you're doing. You know your preference for diet, and you're already eating that way. What's your next goal? Do you want to run a marathon? Do you want to, I don't know. Do you want to go diving? I don't freaking know. Do you want to take up tennis as a hobby? There are so many things that people want to do, and what holds them back is their feeling of not being capable and strong enough to do it. And once you have a foundation laid, you become capable and strong enough to do it, because then you can train for that. But you can't train for all of it all at once. So that's one of my main philosophies. And so I have a program coming up, and I have a group, that's excited, and I'm excited to dive in with them, because I love seeing people go through this change. It's phenomenal.
I can feel it. So those of you who are wanting to check out more, go to arielhoffman.com. What are they going to find when they go to your website and they reach out to you and ask more about how you might be able to help them or direct them on their way?
Yeah, they'll find a little bit more about me, my background, and how I work, and some of the services I offer, as well as I have a manifesto, sort of a core belief system that I refer to often myself when I'm feeling a little bit, challenged with my own stuff, and a way to get in touch. I would love to talk to you, talk to people. The more conversations, the better. So if anyone's interested in getting in the next group, they should head to my website and get in touch with me, because I'm here for them.
Fantastic. Fantastic. You absolutely are. So go to arielhoffman.com, find out more about Ariel, find more about her genuine journey of, that's right, coming from being a, real athlete, dancing professionally, doing all these things, to then, overcoming injuries and mindset challenges around the whole area of health and well-being, diet, exercise, how you actually want to live your life, how you can actually bring out the best of you so that you can bring out the best of your life that you live, right? It's all about just being holistically healthy. I love her balanced approach. I know she's got, worked with the best in the world, and actually has been achieving incredible results with people for a long period of time. So you are definitely well supported by reaching out to Ariel. So thank you so much for being on my show today.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to share one more thing. I just put together a new e-guide, which basically explains the 5 culprits behind why you crave sugar. So if you guys want that, just feel free to get in touch with me and I'll send it to you.
Excellent. Go to her website, get in touch, get that freebie. Who doesn't love that? And that can be just the choice, even just the choice of reaching out today to do something like that. Can that be the impetus to actually go, I'm going to make some changes, or maybe make one change today that's going to just help you on your journey. So get rid of extreme thinking, everybody. Just start building your foundations and start layering. I absolutely love that. So thank you so much, Ariel. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you so much for having me. I loved chatting with you.